I love connecting with people. I love getting people aligned to where they need to be, because I believe life, you have one shot at life. And so, like my Naka said, it's not for you to be miserable. You know, you've met people, and I hope you're not one of them, who you ask them, you know, how's life? You know, just going through the motions, you're demotivated, and really, you know, you don't want to be around those kinds of people. And if you're at work, you don't want to be that person because you send off wrong vibes. And so I like to engage with people to be able to get them aligned to the spaces where they most thrive. Because if you're passionate about what you do, then you're likely to be a joy and a source of inspiration to people around you. So that's what I'm passionate about. And I found myself in HR. So I love people, like I said. So I love what I do. I love being able to align people with jobs, with resources, with all of the tools they need to be able to thrive. Another thing I do is that I love nature. I love nature. I'm fascinated by nature. I'm captivated by nature. And before you start thinking too far, I am not one of those people who is a nature lover in the traditional sense. So I am not going to be found camping anywhere. You will not find me camping in the middle of nowhere, whether that nowhere is a known place. So I'm not camping in a forest. I'm not camping even in my backyard. I don't want to be in spaces where things can crawl in my clothes or crawl, you know, into my body in the middle of the night. I'm not comfortable with going to the bathroom in the bushes. Just no. I'm not comfortable sleeping where I can hear animals that could take me apart outside. You know, there are people who are excited about those kinds of things. Oh, did you hear that lion? Did you hear that hippo? No, that is not my idea of being excited or thrilled by nature. But when I talk about loving nature, the thing that I find most fascinating about nature is the fact that nature can be and continues to be different things to different people, right? Nature is fascinating to me because it has so much potential to be able to respond to or provide for people in different ways. So think about mountains, for example, right? Mountains are a great challenge and a great source of motivation for people who are mountain climbers or hikers. Mountains are home to a number of animals, right? Did you know that mountains provide for half of the fresh water that we have as human beings comes from mountains, right? And these same mountains can be terrifying if you think about volcanic mountains, for example. And mountains can also be, well, for the social media users, can be a fantastic source of a good background. Funny story, a couple of years ago, my sister got proposed to by her now husband on the top of Mount Kenya, and those pictures are priceless, let me tell you. So mountains can be different things, right? And you think about different pieces of nature, you think about oceans. What can oceans be? Now that I've been speaking for a good amount of time, what can oceans be? They can be for sport. So if you're going surfboarding or you're surfing the waves, what else? Food, yeah? If you're fishing, you're hunting something in there. What else? Source of water, right? If you are able to get the salt out of the water, it's a source of salt harvesting for those who use that. And again, pictures, right? Think about trees, right? Trees induce rain. We're told that in science. If you're not into science, then you vaguely remember that from like grade 5 or something. Source of rain, they provide cloud cover, they're home to some animals. When we're not taking care of nature, they can become a source of firewood and timber. And so looking at different aspects of nature, so we're talking about mountains, we've talked about oceans, trees, all of these are just snippets of nature. But I am fascinated, and this is what fascinates me about nature, is how much potential is contained within nature, right? Depending on what the season is, depending on what the need is, nature can rise up to that potential. Of course, nature is not thinking in and of itself, but we as human beings, as part of the universe, as part of nature, are able to also draw from those examples. And I believe personally that in the same way it's inherent in nature, it's inherent in us as human beings, limitless potential. And so as we look at that, there is something to be said about us, that when we think about our career and where we are and what we've studied and what we've been exposed to, as we can only be one thing, or we can only do one thing, then we limit ourselves and we find ourselves living a life that is far less exciting, far less impactful, far less fulfilling than we could have, right? Because we are part of nature, aren't we? Yeah? We're part of nature?
Yes, we are.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for responding. And so this morning, having looked at that, this morning we're looking at unleashing and unlocking your hidden career potential, right? And there are lots of different things that you can do to unlock your hidden career potential. But what I would like to focus on this morning is career plateaus. Career plateaus. And this morning I do not have a presentation up here because I believe that that you have pens, you have papers, I'd like you to use them. And you remember a lot more if you utilize more than one of your senses. So not just looking, but if you're taking notes, you'll remember a lot more from our engagement this morning. You might be wondering, why are we looking at career plateaus? Why would we look at the least exciting, in most people's mind, the least enticing bit of your career journey? Because the reality is, similar to what we have in nature, we have in life and we have in our careers. Seasons of plateauing, seasons in which it's no longer just you're complaining about your job, but everything about you related to your career is negative. And so instead of looking at it in a negative light, I want to shed some light on how career plateaus can be a source of inspiration, can be a source of repositioning, and can help you unlock your hidden career potential. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Wonderful. So I want you to go somewhere with me in your minds. We're going to do a little activity. If you've not done meditation or yoga, this could be your first exposure to it. But I'd like us to go somewhere in our minds. I want to invite you to close your eyes. Everybody in this room, please close your eyes. You don't need to take notes, except mental notes. Close your eyes. Thank you. Picture yourself fit. A lot fitter than you are now. So 3 times fitter than you are now. For some of us, it might be 10 times fitter than we are right now. Whatever the case, picture yourself super fit. Picture yourself having gone to the gym all the times you promised yourself you're going to the gym. Picture yourself having done the work in terms of eating right and being able to train your body, to discipline your body. It's a new year, and you have decided that this year you want to do something different within your fitness goals. You would like to climb a mountain. And you begin to prepare. You learn about a climb that's happening in November, and you begin to prepare for this challenge. Your body is shocked at the beginning, but it gets used to this new regime. And you train, you pay the money that you need to, you get a personal trainer, you do everything that you need to be able to go and conquer this mountain. Lots of people have gone there before, not many people have made it to the top, but you are determined. You've put in the work and you believe you can make it to the top. So the day of the climb comes, you're taken by a bus all the way to what is supposed to be the beginning of your climb, and where you're dropped off is a forest. The entrance of a forest is nice and early, and you get off the bus, you're excited, you have your backpack, you have your water, and you begin navigating through the forest. You have been given a brief, you go through the forest and then reach the bottom of the mountain and climb, so you're excited. So you keep going, you hear different sounds, you observe some beavers running into the bushes, some scurrying, but you know there are no wild animals, so you're not panicking. So you keep walking. After a while, you begin to descend, because right at the bottom of the forest is where the bottom of the mountain exists. So as you come to the bottom, you hear the sounds of water gushing against rocks. And you're happy because this is a good milestone. You've made some progress. You reach into the water, you fill up your bottle, you wash your face, and in fact, because no one is watching, you decide you're going to refresh yourself completely. And then now you realize, no, I need to carry on. So you cross over the river, and you get to the other side. Once the forest is done, you are at the bottom of the mountain. You're excited because this is what you've been training for. This is what you've come for. And you're at the bottom of the mountain, you shrug your shoulders, shake your shoulders, and now we begin the climb. As you climb, you realize the first step is a lot more strenuous than you had imagined. You need to use a lot of leg power, a lot of arm power, but you've trained and you're going to make it. So you climb, and it's very steep, and you keep climbing. And in less than an hour, about 55 minutes, you find yourself having reached a particular landing. And this landing is a relief. You can sigh out in relief. It's been a while now. We're around about 10 o'clock now. You've reached the landing. You're able to rest. You're able to reflect. You're able to drink some water and be able to look back and think, this is how far I've come. And now you're able to look forward. But as you look around on this landing, you just see endless plain. There's lots of grass right in front of you. As far as your eye can go to the left, there's lots of grass. Nothing that looks remotely mountainy, if that's a word. So you are a bit confused, but you decide to carry on because you've trained, you're not going back. So you start walking. You start walking the direction that you think will take you where you want to go. You walk for 30 minutes. You walk for 45 minutes. It's now an hour and a half. You're still walking. The sun is getting higher. It's 2 hours now. It's 3.5 hours now. You're still walking. You can't see anything in front of you. You can't see anything to the left, to the right, and even the place you climbed up off is now looking different. It's very, very far. It now gets to 4 hours. The sun is high in the sky. Your water is almost done. What are you feeling? Open your eyes. What are you feeling? Tired? Mm-hmm. Frustrated. Why are you frustrated? Lack of a clear path. Do any of the things that people have mentioned around the room, whether you've spoken out or what you've heard other people say, do they sound like things that people describe of their careers? Yes? Have you heard people saying they just feel lost? Have you heard people saying they're tired, they're frustrated, unmet expectations because this is what you started and you were feeling excited and now this is not what I signed up for, pretty much. And people are looking at you like, nobody forced you to do this job, to go into this career. But you know that you have unmet expectations. You're feeling disappointed, you're feeling challenged, you don't know if the next moment you'll be asked to do something that you can't do or that's not relevant to what you're supposed to be doing. All these different things, right, that are true of plateaus that you encounter when you've set out on a path of mountain climbing. You've trained, you've invested money, you've invested time and experience and expertise, you've connected, you've given up other things. Because this day that you've gone climbing, you could have stayed at home, right? Sleeping, resting, connecting with other people. But here you are, having trained all this time, and now this is the scenario. And similar to that, like we've talked about it being the truth in even careers, many times people find themselves at these places, and this is what is true of a career plateau. So it's not just about not liking your job, but repeated feelings or negative feelings of frustration, of hopelessness, lack of hope, right? Hopelessness. That is true about what a career plateau looks like, what the environment speaks to you, what you feel, what you experience. And this morning, as we're talking about career plateaus, there are different things you could do. Similar to when you find yourself in the middle of that plane, you've walked for 4 hours, right? You can decide, I'm tired. They'll find me. Since I told some people where I am, they'll just come looking for me when they don't, and I don't come back home. So you just decide to camp there, right? You could decide that you're just going to be negative. You're just going to kick things. You'll see an animal like walking past, you just kick it. Have you met those people who taking out their frustration on the wrong thing? You just find them, they're kicking their tires on the side of the road. The tire is already flat. You kicking it is not going to help the situation, right? So they're kicking dogs, kicking things that can't help. So that could be you. You could just decide to take your frustration out on whatever is around there. You could decide to go back. But you think about it. You've already walked 4 hours in that direction. Now walking back 4 hours, you're not going to go back and then, because going back means you're going back and going back down, right? You're not going where you want to go, right? So this is an issue. So this morning, as I transition from, the illustration with nature, I wanted to talk about 5 most common career plateaus. So this could be where you are right now, right? Or it could be, education and information for you because you will experience it at some point, right? And we talked about it being not a negative thing, but if you know about it, if you know how to prepare for it, you can, one, limit how many times you find yourself in a career plateau. Two, you can be able to navigate so that when you find yourself in a plateau, how do you most quickly get from this plateau to where you want to be? So if you knew in the middle of that field or plane, if you got there and you realized, or you had some tool which would tell you, okay, move southwest. I mean, we have that. We have GPS, right? But imagine if somebody had packed for you GPS in your bag, but you didn't know, like a device, and you didn't know. But if you got that, you'd be able to move from where you are stuck to where you need to be a lot faster than somebody who will just be walking around and feeling it out, right? So I'm going to list them quickly and then I'll go touch on them briefly. So the 5 most common career plateaus. The first one is called structural. Structural career plateaus. The second one is content. Content career plateaus. The third one is contribution. The fourth one is reputational. And the last one is life. So we have structural, we have content, contribution, reputational, and life. Okay? So structural, like it says, it's based on limitations in structure. So sometimes you could find yourself in an organization that either due to the nature of the organization, the size of the organization, there are limited levels in the organization that you can rise to, okay? Especially in smaller organizations. You can find yourself, so let's say, let me give an example. If you are 5 PR assistants in an organization, and there's only 1 PR manager, which means all 5 of you, at some level, are competing for this particular job, right? To be able to be the PR executive, the PR manager in that organization. And therefore, as you go up an organization, so most traditional organizations especially, would have a pyramid type of structure, right? So there are lots of people at the bottom. As you keep going up, there are fewer people, right? Going up. And because of that, lots of people get filtered out, right? So if you're 5 of you competing for 1 position, if you're really good, right? And there are lots of things that will be shared today about how to be outstanding, how to be visible, then you might get to the next level, right? But from there again, there's a lot of filtering out. So you may or may not get to the next level. And therefore you end up plateauing in that organization because of the structure that's there. Recently I saw this opportunity for a senior HR position, a global position, and the person who that senior HR, the senior global HR reports to is a CFO. So you know a CFO is the Chief Financial Officer. In this particular organization, the CFO is in charge of finance, but they're also in charge of operations. So the way that organization is structured, HR falls under operations, right? And so in that regard, this senior HR person could not grow beyond their particular position, not because they're not qualified, but because they don't have the financial expertise. So no matter how good they are, they can never become CFO, even though that's the position that they report to, right? Because of how the organization is structured. So that's one of the things. Depending on how the organization is structured, you might be plateaued at a particular level. The second one is content. So if you have mastered your job or mastered your particular role, and you could even be called at 2 a.m. and give answers, I mean, you don't even need to think twice about it because you know everything there is to know about your job. Not in the positive way of you're doing your job well, but your job is no longer challenging to you. That is a content career plateau. The third one is contribution. So you lack the skill, the knowledge, the ability to be able to move up the career ladder yourself. So if you're an assistant or if you're in a junior position, if an opening came up in the position above you, you would not be able to step into that because either you don't have the qualifications, you don't have the certification, you have not shown initiative, different things, right? So you are not able to contribute beyond where you are now, and that makes you plateau because sometimes it's not just about you've been there 10 years, so you're definitely going to move up, right? You need to be able to demonstrate that you can be able to do the next level job. The fourth one is reputational career plateau. So in situations where you've had negative behavior or negative events have happened, whether or not you did them, right? But sometimes it's people's perception, you know? If you're just the angry person in the office who is rubbing everyone the wrong way, you have a negative reputation that limits you from going to the next level or being able to be expanded for your responsibilities. And then lastly, it's life. Sometimes you might find yourself in a situation where you have lack of enthusiasm for different things. So it's not just your job that you're not excited about, but you're not excited about your life. Life has lost meaning. And of course, in this particular one, it's bigger than just your career. Your career suffers, but it's not just your career. You need to seek a professional, whether it's a therapist, a counselor, a religious leader. You need to speak to somebody about being able to restore that. So very quickly, what are some things you can do practically? Okay, because we want to talk about practical things. Number one is taking stock. Whether you're in the career plateau or you are just journeying through your career, I tell people regularly take stock of your life. The first thing is take stock of you. Take stock of where you are in your career. What are the experiences you've had in this year? What are your giftings? What is your reputation at work? You know, many times when people want to be promoted, the person who is doing the promotion will speak to other people and say, I'm thinking of promoting Obwaka to HR manager. What do you think? The people say, no, please. That would be the worst thing for this organization. Because maybe Obwaka looks really good to senior management, but it's terrorizing everyone else. So if we get him in that position, then he's going to ruin our company. So you need to take stock of all of that, everything about yourself. What skills do you have? What have you learned in that particular year? And then the second part of taking stock is taking stock of your environment, right? What is going on in the organization? At the beginning of the year, there might be lots of opportunities to grow, but the organization has a bad financial year. They're cutting people out, right? And so where previously you would have grown in the organization, now you can't grow anymore. A structural career plateau has been imposed. So now you might need to start thinking about opportunities outside, right? You need to take stock of your environment. What's going on in the industry? What are other things that people are doing skills that I can get, you know? So that's the second thing. So that's 1A and 1B. Taking stock of yourself, taking stock of the environment. The second thing is being able to make a plan to acquire skills and knowledge, right? Put it down in your resolutions for the year. I am going to get out of this career plateau. I am going to advance myself. So whether it is getting professional certification, whether it's taking courses online, whether it's signing up for Centonomy, please, because this is great information, great complement to what you're already doing in the workplace. This is good opportunity for you to be able to build yourself. So figure out what knowledge you need to be able to get you to the next place, and then use that to be able to, you know, identify what skills you're going to use. And then thirdly, it's being able to build your network. So attend social events, attend open days like these, attend professional body meetups, right? Do not just stay within your network and being able to, you know, just connect with the people that you know, but go to places where you can make yourself visible, right? This is what I am doing, this is what I am about, and you can also learn about gaps that are there in the industry. And then the last thing that I'll say, of course there are lots more, but the last thing that I'll say is restructure your view of success. Like I said at the beginning, wealth is not just about money. It's not just about moving up the promotional ladder, right? Wealth is also about being able to have the life that you want without having to work for it. So sometimes it looks like investing in your passions, investing in your interests, because maybe the reason you're not doing so well at work, the reason that you're not thriving where you're supposed to be, is because you are just not feeding your soul, you know, if that makes sense, feeding your soul. So you're not making time for music, if it's music, time for your family, you're not getting to travel, you're not getting time for exercise. So sometimes don't just look at success or having moved out of this plateau as being moving up the career ladder. In the situation that we talked about being on the plane, somebody said they felt alone. In that particular situation, it would have been easier, wouldn't it, if there was somebody else with you, if there was a group of you, right? So sometimes it is the need for connection that maybe you're sacrificing for this job that's causing you to be in this plateau longer than you need to. Sometimes it's expanding your view. So whether it's giving back to the community, some of those other things that you can be able to do to pour back into you would be able to help you navigate out of the career plateau. Yeah? Are we together? Wonderful. So I'll close off with this. In the Bible, there's a story about the Israelites, or the Jews, present-day Jews. And they were navigating from one place and they were going to another place. They were trying to seek something new and something better. And at some point in their journey, you know, because of the hardships they'd gone through, because of just different things with their attitude, they end up camping around this mountain. They just say, you know what, we're not going to go and find home somewhere else. We're just going to hang out around this mountain. We're just going to live there. And they lived there for, you know, close to 40 years. You imagine making your home in that plane for like close to 40 years. You just say, you know, I'm just going to start eating things here. So they lived there until one moment they had, this voice, and the Bible talks about God being there, and he speaks to them and says, listen, guys, you've been walking around this mountain for way too long. I'm going to need you to get up and move on because there's more for you, right? And that's my encouragement to you, that if you find yourself, or if you are in a career plateau, there is more for you. This is an opportunity for you to rest, to recalibrate, to reposition. Do not shrink back and say, oh, everyone is just miserable at their job. There is more for you. In the same way that all of nature shows us repeatedly that there's lots of potential, there's lots of things within us, there is lots and lots of things within you, and you're able to rise and be able to lay hold of those things. So that is it from me this morning.